There are many ball game courts in archaeological zones all over Mexico. It was a practice of endurance and skill. It was a sophisticated way of understanding the environment where the game was conceived as a computer of the cosmos pre-Columbian cultures of Central America and played almost a millennium before establishing the first Greek Olympic Games. According to the written and pictographic references about the game in other Mesoamerican areas, we know that the contests had the finality of pacifying society, as it reconciled sealed agreements and resolved conflicts. However, according to the Popol Vuh for the Mayas, it was a contest between mortals and gods. 2 teams played the game with 7 players each. They could not use their hands, only their hips, right shoulder, and the right knee to elevate the ball and throw it to the other side of the divided court. There was a ring on each wall where the rubber ball had to go through. The team with the most points would be the winner. It was a fast and dangerous game because the ball would bounce very fast. The action reached unimaginable levels of violence, even for today's standards. Serious injuries were common as players dove into stone courts to keep the ball in play and end the game bloodied and bruised. When the high-speed movement of a heavy flying ball hit a player, it could cause internal bleeding to unprotected body zones and sometimes even death. The players eventually began wearing equipment to prevent serious injuries. The equipment varied from time to time. Most commonly, they wore headdresses or helmets. Quilted cotton pads covered the elbows and knees. They used stone belts known as yugos, decorated yugos used to hit and pass the ball. The Mesoamerican ball court believed to have extended as far south as Paraguay and north into the present-day Arizona. The earliest known Mesoamerican ball court is in Paso de la Amada in Chiapas, Mexico, dated to around 3,650 years old, with a radiocarbon test. It places historically between the Mocaya and Olmec cultures and only a few hundred years after the hunter-gatherers had settled into stable residential communities. Physically, the building for the ball game is made up of 2 slant walls, 2 side structures, and the Latin I-shape court of double semi-enclosed or closed T. It is usually oriented north-south with a 10 to 12 degree of deviation east or west. There are 4 courts located in Huachimontones, Jalisco, 14 courts in Tajín, Veracruz, 2 courts in Tula, Hidalgo, 13 courts in Chichen Itza. One of them is the largest in Mesoamerica. It measures 166 meters long and 68 meters wide. In Nahuatl, it is called Teotachitl, or Place of God's Ball Game. Palenque has one, and there are about 1,300 more around the different sites in Mexico. During the classical period, the ball game was a right of the Mayan rulers and one of the Mesoamerica's aerial principal rights. It was a discipline unique globally, and it played an essential role in politics and the economy in Mesoamerica. The religious aspects of the ball game had its origins in the cosmos and religious beliefs of the pre-Hispanic people. It was an act of magic to help the celestial stars movement. The court symbolized heaven. The ball's movement recreated the struggle and harmony between the sun, the moon, day and night, lightness and darkness, heaven and underworld, life and death. In many cases, to obtain glory, the winner accepts to die because they offer their lives to the gods willingly. The book, the Popol Vuh, the Maya creation myth, which I have mentioned before, mentions two important gods were going down to the underworld to contest with the lords 1 and 7 deaths. The underworld gods afterward being killed and transformed into celestial bodies. The sacrifice of the losing teams of the ball game was a reaffirmation for the Maya culture and an aspect of a contract with the underworld which allowed the sun and the moon to rise every day, as long as they made these sacrifices. When the Spaniards arrived, the game was banned due to its pagan connotations, ending thousands of years of the sport's tradition. The principles of the game went to Europe and served as an inspiration for many games still played, such as the Basque ball. Nowadays, it is still played in many places in Mexico, even though the rules are modified. Many regulations and ultimate goals of the pre-Hispanic culture are still unknown. Loving Mexico thanks you for being with us today. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment. Continue watching our videos and enjoy Loving Mexico.